If you are truly being intentional in your life and you want to find love and you're just over the dating, okay, make sure to subscribe because this is all the things that I'm all about. I found my happily ever after my person. We've been married together for 16 years. So if that resonates with you, if you want no BS, straight advice on how you can find it too, make sure you subscribe. Make this a habit where you can always find out when I post a new episode every Monday and Thursday. So I know there's a lot of people against the list, having a list of deal breakers. And one of the biggest arguments I hear that I've heard people say is, oh yeah, but then you're limiting yourself and you're not open to other things and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm going to speak to you about that. I know that you're listening to this because you want to find your person, and something you're doing or not doing is preventing you from doing that. For me, truly, it was getting so clear on what I wanted in a partner and writing a list out, and not just any list of bullshit. It's like a list of qualities that were super important to me that I knew if they didn't have this quality, it's not going to work. We're not aligned. It's not like they're not good enough for me. It's just that we're not aligned. And so the list is absolutely gold. And it's so important that, you do it, but with the intention of these are the things that are absolutely important to me, every single thing. But that doesn't mean that you're, if you meet somebody and they have something else, like it's not like you're gonna block yourself and you have like some kind of like, I'm not gonna talk to anyone if you're not whatever it is on your list. Like that is a limiting bullshit thought. So let me give you an example to help you out, for example. Okay, so like I remember I went on a date with a guy, and on my list, I had financially secure, right? And he was, totally had a job and stable, and by the way, I had that not because I needed his money. I had my own money, but I don't want to support some guy that's like a loser sleeping on like couch surfing and shit. Like I wanted to be a teammate with somebody where we both brought in, or financially secure. He had that, right? And he was super nice, and he had a good family, and all these things were nice. But when he mentioned, when I asked him about music, I'm a singer-songwriter. If you don't know that, that's one of my passions. And, you can find my music on JkL and Loor, but I write really dark pop, female empowerment, inspiring kind of music, whatever. And I play guitar and I write, and I have, it's like a passion. And he said, oh yeah, I could go the rest of my life and never listen to music. Like, I don't see the big deal with music. And I'm like, okay, this is a bye-bye time. Like, this is a bye-bye moment, right? And so, like, to me, a lot of other people don't give a shit about music, and that's fine. But to me, that was like, this is never going to work. Like, how can I have a partner, right? So he had all these other things. I've met, other people where I never even thought about, like, for example, with Will, when I met him and we were talking and I was being intentional and I had my list of qualities, he said, his mom was a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, oh shit, like I could have assumed, he would probably want a stay-at-home mom, his wife to stay at home. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I asked him, I said, oh, is that something you would want from your future wife, is like for them to stay at home? And he said, no, not at all, actually. And he talked about how he loves a woman that's, independent and has a passion. And he said that his mom really was that way too, and her own things. She, like, I was like, okay, awesome. Like, this is really, but then he also said, just to be clear, and I mentioned this, I think, on another episode, but I'll say it because it's so relevant. He said, my mom has severe rheumatoid arthritis. And, she's kind of been in and out of the hospital my whole life. And I've always, like, I know that, I'm the oldest son, and I would just want to let you know that I would be the one, if something, God forbid, happens to my dad, I would be the one taking care of her. Listen, that was never on my list. I was never like, oh yeah, and I want a guy that will take in the mom. And like, you know what I mean? Like, what I saw in that moment was such a compassionate, loving man. And I loved, and by the way, on my list, I did say no mama's boys. But I realized he wasn't a mama's boy. And I realized he just loves his mom and he's just a good son. And I was like, this guy has so much, like, he's such a good moral compass and a good heart. And I don't even know his mom, but I already love her. Like, it was like one of those things. And so that being said, like, I'm not looking at my list and be like, well, this isn't there. I'm buying by it. Like, that's bullshit. At the end of the day, I wanted a loving man with integrity, with a good, like, family oriented. He was all those things, and continues to be. And so, like, you got to be present and open. And it's not like this interrogation of like, are you every single thing on my list? It's about truly emotionally connecting with somebody, like putting your heart on your sleeve and really getting to know somebody for who they really are. And, the sooner you can do that, the better. Like, this conversation happened on our first date. And so I want to, I really feel like this is a movement. Like, I want you guys to just start to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Like, oh shit, having these conversations. No, like, fuck it. Like, do it. Like, say you want kids and say you want like 5 if you want 5. Like, say whatever it is you want. Scare them away, because Will said this, and that if it's scared, if I would have been scared with that and I said, fuck this, bye, I'm not his person. But when he said that, I leaned in. I was like, get out of my face. This guy is such a good soul, like an amazing soul. And I was so connecting with him. And him sharing about how he's taking care of his mom for all these years. Like, I just like absolutely love that vulnerability and that honesty. And I don't think that Will would have shared it unless I honestly showed up really intentional. And I had a list of these qualities that were so important to me. And I led with my heart. And I asked the questions, and I shared vulnerably who I was. And I made space for him to get comfortable with that and be comfortable enough to share. So yeah, a list, absolutely important. And to be clear of what you want. And so you don't just, go with the flow and end up, with another guy that is the same kind of guy that you've dated before, the same woman you've dated before. It's like, no. I don't want the blinders on. I want you to be super conscious about what you're doing. And the list helps you do that. It helps you stay awake. It helps you ask questions. It helps you, are you aligned? Yes or no? You're not going to get swept away with their eyes and, oh my God, they're so hot and beautiful, whatever. No, it's like, I know what I want in my partner, and let me see if we're aligned. And, it helps you be really present and intentional. So yeah, a list is a must. It really is. And I have, I talk about that with my clients, trust in the list. And that's so important. And so that being said, be present and be open to all the things that person can bring to your life. Because Will has brought so much into my life, and the list helped me see, oh my God, we're so aligned on so many core values and core things that we want in our life. But he brought even more that I didn't have on my list, and I was open to receive. You see what I mean? So I hope that answers you guys the questions that you may have about, a list. Is it limiting? No, bullshit. It's not. It's not. And by the way, I talk about this in my masterclass. I'll drop a link below. It's actually an interactive workshop. I've realized that it's so much better when I make it interactive. So I know that guys watch this on YouTube. So if you guys do want to be a part of it, just send me a message on YouTube or on my Instagram, the JkL&x, because this is really geared for women. But I don't want to leave the guys out. So maybe we could do something like a session, just the guys. So that would be interesting. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in, and we could do like an interactive workshop where, I really help you and use my proven method that guided me to find my person, that my clients are using to find their person. And so let me know. I love connecting with you guys. I appreciate you listening. And remember, it has to be crazy love or nothing. Bye. Thank you.